The line between right and easy. Elias sat in his office, staring at the city skyline that glittered beneath a crimson sunset. He was a senior journalist for the Global Tribune, known for his bold investigations and eloquent writing. For years, he had exposed corruption, environmental crimes, and political scandals. Yet, at that moment, he felt a weight pressing on his conscience heavier than any story he had ever written. The newspaper had received confidential documents linking a major pharmaceutical company to falsified research results. The story was explosive, the kind that could destroy reputations and change public policy. Elias knew the world needed to know. But there was a catch. One of the company's executives was his longtime friend, someone who had once helped him save his career during a difficult time. He spent nights rereading the documents, cross-checking the sources, and battling his own thoughts. The evidence was solid, but exposing it meant betraying someone he respected deeply. Ethics, he had always believed, was about truth and fairness. Yet, in real life, truth and loyalty often collided like two unstoppable forces. Which one would define him now? In the newsroom, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. "We're ready to publish," said his editor, Maya, her tone firm but not cold. "We just need your confirmation." Elias hesitated, his eyes fixed on the draft headline flashing on his screen. He asked for another day, one more day to verify the final details. Maya looked at him knowingly. "Or one more day to make peace with your conscience." That night, Elias walked along the riverbank, his thoughts tangled. He recalled a lecture he once attended on moral philosophy, about utilitarianism and deontology. The professor had said, ethics is not about finding comfort, it's about facing the discomfort of doing what's right. Those words echoed in his mind as he watched the reflection of city lights shimmer on the dark water. The next morning, he met his friend, Daniel, the executive in question. They sat in a quiet cafe where the smell of roasted coffee mixed with tension. Daniel's expression was strained. "I know why you're here," he said quietly. "And I won't lie to you, the company cut corners. But if the story goes public, thousands of employees will lose their jobs." His words struck Elias like a blade of guilt. "Then what do you suggest?" Elias asked. Daniel sighed. "Delay it. Give us time to fix things internally. No one needs to know." It sounded reasonable, even compassionate. But deep down, Elias knew that silence could turn him into an accomplice. He left the cafe without responding, feeling the moral ground beneath him crumble. Back at home, he opened his notebook, the one he always used to draft his first ideas by hand. On the first page, he wrote, "Ethics is not a theory, it's a daily choice." The word stared back at him like a challenge. Could he live with the choice of silence? Or could he bear the pain of integrity? He realized that both roads demanded a sacrifice, one of comfort, the other of conscience. When morning came, Elias walked into the newsroom with calm determination. Maya looked up from her desk, waiting for his answer. "Run the story," he said simply. There was no triumph in his voice, only clarity. The article went live that afternoon. Within hours, it spread across the internet, igniting debates, outrage, and praise. Public reaction was divided. Some hailed him as a hero of truth, others condemned him as a betrayer. Daniel's career was over, and the friendship dissolved into silence. Yet, despite the pain, Elias felt an inner stillness he had not known before. He hadn't chosen the easier path, but he had chosen the honest one. Weeks later, during a press conference, a young journalist asked him, "Do you believe it's always right to expose the truth, even if it hurts people?" Elias paused before answering. "Truth doesn't exist to comfort us," he said. "It exists to guide us. Sometimes it burns, but only because it brings light. The room fell silent. That night, he walked home through empty streets, his reflection flickering in the shop windows. The city seemed quieter, almost listening. Ethics, he thought, was not about perfection or glory, it was about responsibility, to others, to truth, and to oneself. He smiled faintly, realizing that every day in life was another test of where he drew his line between right and easy. Months later, he received an anonymous letter. It was from a former employee of the company, thanking him for giving them the courage to speak out. "Your story didn't destroy us," the letter read. "It gave us a chance to rebuild honestly." Elias folded the letter carefully and placed it inside his notebook, beside the words he had written long ago. Standing by the window, watching the dawn rise over the city, he whispered to himself, "Integrity costs, but silence costs more." And for the first time in a long while, he felt completely at peace, not because the world had become more ethical, but because he had finally learned to live according to his own.